My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, welcome to the Life Guidance Vault, where every insight is a key to unlocking a new path to growth, purpose, and transformation. Have you ever felt it? That subtle, almost invisible tension in the air when certain people enter the room. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it creeps in like a shadow at dusk, pulling at your energy, clouding your clarity, making you question yourself in ways you never expected. Some people seem to carry chaos in their very presence. You can't always put your finger on it, but you feel it in your gut, in the restless pacing of your thoughts, in the unease you can't quite explain. The truth is, evil doesn't arrive with flashing neon signs or dramatic villainous entrances. It doesn't always wear horns or carry a pitchfork. More often, it walks quietly beside you, wears a familiar face, offers a helping hand, all while tightening invisible chains around your mind and heart. And this is where most people get caught off guard. They expect evil to be obvious, grotesque, loud. But in reality, it is often masked in charm, dressed in kindness, and presented with a smile. It thrives in subtlety, and that is its greatest power. But here's the thing. My unstoppable wisdom, seekers and fearless life explorers, you are not powerless. You have the strength, the insight, and the wisdom to see through the fog, to recognize the hidden thorns beneath the roses, and to protect your peace before it's too late. In this journey we're about to take together, we'll go beyond the surface. We'll uncover the patterns, the tactics, the quiet dangers that evil people use to infiltrate our lives. Not to spread fear, but to awaken clarity. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Ancient wisdom reminds us, the first step towards mastery is understanding the battlefield. And the battlefield we walk every day isn't just the world outside. It's also the hidden conflicts in our relationships, in our workplaces, in our trusted circles. Today, we shine a light on that battlefield. I'll share with you 10 unmistakable signs that you're dealing with a truly dangerous, destructive person. Signs that, once you recognize them, will feel like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. We're not just exploring theory here. We're diving deep into human behavior, backed by timeless philosophy and real-world examples, so you can protect your energy, guard your peace, and move through life with confidence and purpose. This is more than a warning. It's a guide. It's a map to navigate the hidden dangers of human nature, using the wisdom of the ages as your compass. So, take a deep breath, clear your mind, and prepare yourself for a journey of revelation. Together, we'll unlock the vault of life's hidden truths. Let's begin. We're not just talking about the cartoonish villains of stories. We're talking about the real people, co-workers, friends, even family members who drain our spirit and distort our sense of reality. The reason this conversation matters so deeply is because evil isn't always an external event. It isn't always something you read about in the news. Sometimes it's personal. It finds its way into our daily lives, hiding in plain sight, operating quietly in the spaces we least expect. And when it does, it chips away at our inner peace, one subtle manipulation at a time, one lie at a time, one erosion of our boundaries at a time. My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, this is why understanding the nature of these people is not just useful, it's essential. It protects not only your energy, but your dignity. It shields your dreams, your ambitions, and the very essence of who you are. But here's a truth I want you to hold close. You don't need to become a cold, suspicious person to guard yourself. You don't need to close your heart to the beauty of connection. Instead, you need discernment. The kind of clear-eyed wisdom that ancient philosophers mastered. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, taught us to understand the forces at play in human behavior, not to judge harshly, but to recognize reality with courage. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Calmness comes from clarity, and clarity comes from understanding. That's exactly what we're doing here today. As we journey through these 10 unmistakable signs, you'll begin to see patterns emerge. You'll start noticing behaviors that previously slipped under the radar. What once felt confusing will become clear, and what once drained your spirit will lose its power over you. These signs aren't meant to make you paranoid. They're your compass, your guide to navigate complex human dynamics with wisdom and strength. So if you've ever walked away from an interaction feeling drained, doubting yourself, or sensing something was deeply wrong but couldn't explain why, stay with me. Because by the end of this exploration, you'll have the insight to see clearly, choose wisely, and guard your energy like the precious force it is. Now, let's step into the heart of this guide and uncover the first of these 10 warning signs. The first clue lies in one of the most powerful yet subtle weapons in the hands of an evil person: manipulation. Number 1, manipulation. This is where it almost always begins. Manipulation is the silent thread that weaves through the actions of those with harmful intentions. But it's never loud or obvious at first. No, manipulation wears a mask of concern, of friendliness, even of love. It pretends to offer help, while secretly pulling the strings behind the curtain. Picture this. You meet someone who showers you with praise, makes you feel like you're the most valued person in the room. You feel seen, appreciated, but slowly, their tone shifts. They start planting subtle doubts in your mind. They suggest that without their guidance, you might falter, that they see dangers you're too naive to notice. At first, it feels like they're protecting you, but in reality, they are building a web, one designed to make you question your judgment and rely more and more on theirs. Seneca, the great Stoic thinker, warned us wisely. He who is afraid of many things is also vulnerable to many manipulations. Fear is the fuel manipulators use. They create uncertainty, then present themselves as the only solution to escape it. You'll notice they rarely encourage your independence. Instead, they keep you second-guessing your choices, doubting your strengths, and leaning on them for reassurance. True allies in life empower you to trust yourself. They celebrate your independence, your growth, your victories as your own. Manipulators do the opposite. They dim your light to make their guidance seem like the only beacon. So ask yourself, does this person make me feel stronger and more self-reliant? Or do I feel more dependent and unsure every time I interact with them? Recognizing manipulation is your first shield. It stops the subtle erosion of your confidence before it becomes a landslide. And remember, my fearless explorers, in the life. Guidance Vault, we seek clarity and empowerment, not confusion and control. Number 2, a mask of charm. Have you ever met someone whose charm seemed almost too perfect, like they were born with the ability to make everyone feel like they were the most important person in the room? At first, it's enchanting. Their smile, their words, the way they make you feel seen, everything is effortlessly warm and inviting. It's like a scene from a movie, and for a moment, you believe you've found a kindred spirit. But then, as time passes, something feels off. The charm, while still alluring, starts to feel like a performance, not a genuine connection. Their words, though sweet, don't align with their actions. They begin to use their charm like a weapon, pulling you in with promises of care and affection, only to withdraw when they no longer have anything to gain. The truth is, this mask of charm hides a deeper agenda. It's a tactic, a means to get what they want, whether it's admiration, power, or control. What they don't tell you is that behind that dazzling smile is someone who uses others for personal gain, and once they've gotten what they need from you, they vanish. Marcus Aurelius once wisely said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, their actions, however charming, reveal their true nature. They may charm you with sweet words, but observe their behavior when no one is looking, or when they think you're no longer useful. How do they treat those who can't offer them anything in return? I once had a friend who seemed perfect in every way. He made everyone feel special, always had the right words, the right compliments. But as soon as I stopped providing him with the attention he sought, I saw a completely different side of him. He became distant, even condescending, speaking poorly of people he once praised. His kindness wasn't real. It was just a transaction, and I was the product. So how do we break free from this charm? The Stoics teach us to seek authenticity, not surface-level allure. Real goodness doesn't need to dress itself up in false displays of affection. Genuine kindness shows itself in actions, in consistency, and in integrity. If you ever find yourself charmed yet uneasy, trust that instinct. True relationships, true connection, don't require pretense. You don't need to be swept off your feet by someone's words. Instead, watch their actions. Watch how they treat others when the spotlight is off. That's where you'll find the truth. And when you spot it, step away from the illusion. Remember, my fearless explorers, you are worthy of real love, genuine connection, and authenticity. Number 3, lies without conscience. My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, have you ever encountered someone who lies without even flinching? Not the harmless white lies we sometimes tell to avoid conflict, but the kind of lies that are told with cold, calculated intent. The kind of lies that are meant to deceive, manipulate, and distort reality for their own benefit. These individuals don't hesitate for a second. They lie effortlessly and with a chilling lack of guilt or remorse. It's as if the truth holds no value to them. Only the manipulation of others for their own advantage matters. What makes these lies so dangerous is the complete lack of conscience behind them. They don't even see lying as wrong. In their world, the truth is merely an obstacle, and their personal goals are the only things worth pursuing, regardless of who they hurt along the way. Think about it. How many times have you been lied to by someone who seemed completely unfazed by the damage they caused? Maybe they lied about something small, or maybe it was a huge betrayal, but the lack of shame was unmistakable. They just kept spinning their stories as if reality itself could be rewritten by their words. This behavior often leaves us feeling confused. How can someone lie so blatantly and feel no remorse? How can they twist the truth to serve their own needs and sleep at night? The truth is, people who lie without conscience often lack any real sense of empathy. They don't care about how their words impact others, because their focus is entirely on themselves. They see relationships not as bonds of trust, but as tools they can use to get ahead. I once worked closely with someone who lied about the smallest things, about projects we were working on, about conversations we'd had. At first, I thought maybe I was mistaken, or that they were just forgetful. But the lies kept coming, and they became more elaborate over time. When I confronted them, they didn't even blink. They just continued with their version of reality, unfazed and unapologetic. It was in that moment that I realized they didn't care about the truth. To them, lying was just another strategy to get what they wanted. So how do you protect yourself from these serial deceivers? The Stoics teach us to value the truth above all else. They remind us that honesty is a foundation for trust, and without trust, there can be no real connection. When faced with lies, practice discernment. Pay attention to patterns. If someone's words don't align with their actions, or if you catch them in a lie once, twice, or even more, it's a clear warning. Don't ignore the red flags. Lying without conscience is not a mistake, it's a behavior, a habit that will continue if you allow it. Set boundaries, and don't be afraid to distance yourself from those who prioritize deception over honesty. The truth may hurt in the short term, but living with deceit in your life will cause far more harm in the long run. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, don't stoop to their level of dishonesty. Live with integrity, and let the truth be your guide. Number 4. Lack of empathy. My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, let's talk about one of the most striking features of a toxic person: a complete lack of empathy. Empathy is that emotional bridge we use to understand others, to feel their pain, joy, or frustration. It's the capacity to step into someone else's shoes and see the world from their perspective. Empathy allows us to connect deeply with those around us, to share in their experiences, and to offer compassion when they're suffering. But for certain individuals, empathy is a foreign concept. They cannot, or simply will not, understand or care about the feelings of others. This lack of empathy isn't just about being indifferent or emotionally distant. It's about actively ignoring or disregarding the emotional needs and well-being of others, often in a cold, calculated way. You see, when someone lacks empathy, they're not necessarily malicious in their actions. They may not even realize the harm they're causing, but the effects are just as damaging. Without the ability to understand or care for the emotional experiences of others, they treat people like objects to be used or manipulated, rather than human beings with their own thoughts, feelings, and boundaries. Think about someone you know who has never seemed to get your emotions. You might have shared something deeply personal, and they responded with disinterest, criticism, or even just complete indifference. They don't acknowledge your pain or your happiness. To them, you're just a means to an end, not a person whose emotional landscape matters. I remember a situation where a close colleague was going through a really tough time. They were struggling with personal issues and needed some understanding and support. When they tried to talk to someone at work, instead of offering a listening ear, this individual brushed them off, barely acknowledging their distress. In fact, they even made the situation worse, dismissing their concerns as if they were irrelevant. It was as if my colleague's feelings didn't even register with them. It felt as though this person saw my colleague as a tool rather than a human being in need of compassion. Lack of empathy often leads to callous behavior, selfish actions, and a general disregard for others' well-being. But here's the truly dangerous part. These individuals often won't even recognize or admit their lack of empathy. They might think their actions are justified, or they may see no reason to alter their behavior. So, how do we deal with this? One of the best ways is to set clear boundaries. When someone shows you time and time again that they don't care about your feelings, it's up to you to protect yourself. Know that you deserve to be treated with respect, and don't allow anyone to continuously disregard your emotional needs. You may have to distance yourself from individuals who repeatedly fail to show empathy, as they will never understand or value your experiences. Also, remember, don't internalize their lack of empathy. Their inability to understand your emotions is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a reflection of their own limitations. Take a step back, reflect on your own emotional intelligence, and cultivate compassion for yourself and others who truly deserve it. Empathy is one of the most powerful forces in human connection, and when it's absent, relationships are built on a hollow foundation. As Buddha wisely said, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Make sure you protect and nurture your own sense of empathy, and don't let anyone's lack of it dim the light in your heart. Number 5. Unrepentant heart. My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, let's now dive into one of the darkest traits a toxic person can exhibit: the unrepentant heart. This is a characteristic that leaves a deep, unsettling mark on relationships. It's the inability or unwillingness to feel genuine regret for harmful actions, whether it's betrayal, lies, or emotional cruelty. An unrepentant person might hurt others, but they will never show remorse for their actions. They may apologize, but these apologies are often empty and insincere. They're just words used to manipulate or avoid consequences. But inside, their heart remains hard, unyielding, and unconcerned with the pain they've caused. Let's think about this for a moment. Imagine you've been wronged by someone you care about. They did something that deeply hurt you. Maybe they lied, betrayed your trust, or took advantage of your kindness. You confront them, hoping for an apology, or at least an acknowledgement of your feelings. But instead of seeing remorse, you're met with defensiveness, excuses, or a cold, emotionless response. They don't admit their wrongdoing. They simply refuse to accept responsibility. This is what I mean by an unrepentant heart. It's not just the absence of a heartfelt apology, it's the complete lack of emotional accountability. An unrepentant person may view their actions as justified, even when they've caused harm. In their eyes, they might feel entitled to act however they want, regardless of the consequences for others. They don't feel the need to make amends or take steps to correct their behavior because deep down they don't think they've done anything wrong. Now, how does this affect us? First and foremost, it damages trust. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. When we open up to someone, share our vulnerabilities, or give them our time and energy, we trust that they won't hurt us. But an unrepentant person breaks that trust, and instead of attempting to repair it, they leave it shattered. This makes it incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to rebuild the relationship. Without true remorse, there is no real effort to change or grow from the experience. And without that growth, the cycle of harm can continue. Take a moment and think of someone in your life who has wronged you without ever taking responsibility for their actions. Maybe they hurt you emotionally, betrayed your trust, or abandoned you when you needed them the most. You might have tried to seek closure, but they refused to acknowledge your pain, leaving you feeling invalidated and unheard. This lack of repentance can be incredibly isolating and frustrating because it denies the healing process that should follow any conflict or wrongdoing. What can you do when faced with someone who has an unrepentant heart? The first step is to acknowledge their behavior for what it is. Don't try to make excuses for them, and don't waste your energy hoping they'll change. An unrepentant person will not change unless they choose to, and in most cases, they won't. Instead, focus on healing yourself. You don't need their apology or remorse to find peace. Set clear boundaries and protect yourself from future harm. If someone is unwilling to acknowledge their wrongs, it's okay to step back from the relationship. You deserve to be surrounded by people who take responsibility for their actions, who recognize the hurt they've caused, and who make a conscious effort to do better. Remember, forgiveness doesn't mean excusing their actions. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, freeing you from the weight of carrying resentment. But that doesn't mean you should continue to allow toxic behavior into your life. You have the power to decide who stays in your inner circle and who doesn't. An unrepentant heart might be cold, but your heart can remain warm and open to healing, growth, and true connection. Number 6, blame games and deflection. Now we turn our attention to another hallmark of toxic behavior, blame games and deflection. This is a strategy that toxic individuals use to avoid responsibility for their actions, and it often leaves you feeling confused, frustrated, and powerless. It's when someone refuses to own up to their mistakes and instead points the finger at others, or even at you, making you feel like you're the one at fault. When you're in the presence of someone who plays the blame game, they will go to great lengths to divert attention from their own shortcomings or wrongdoings. It doesn't matter how clear the situation is. If they're caught in the act, they'll shift the focus to you or to some external factor. They might use statements like, "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted that way," or "It's your fault I did this." Here's the thing about blame games. They're a form of emotional manipulation. By constantly shifting blame, toxic individuals create confusion and doubt in your mind. They want to make you feel like you're the one who is in the wrong, even when it's obvious that they are the ones who caused the problem. This deflection tactic keeps you on the defensive, constantly trying to prove that you didn't cause the issue, instead of addressing the root problem. How do you recognize when someone is playing the blame game? One of the biggest red flags is repeated patterns of avoidance. They might acknowledge the issue for a moment, but then quickly shift the conversation in a way that makes you feel like you're the one who is responsible. For example, let's say you confront someone about how their actions hurt you. Instead of taking accountability, they quickly say, "Well, you always overreact," or "I wouldn't have said that if you hadn't been so sensitive." Now you're left questioning your own feelings and responses, rather than them taking responsibility for their actions. Another form of deflection is the use of victimization. Toxic individuals might try to make you feel sorry for them by presenting themselves as the victim in every situation. They may exaggerate their own struggles, turning the tables so that you end up apologizing for something you didn't do while they walk away scot-free. This tactic works because it taps into your empathy and your desire to make peace, even if it means taking the blame yourself. But here's the truth. When you're constantly being blamed or manipulated through deflection, you start to lose your sense of self. You begin to doubt your own thoughts, actions, and perceptions. Eventually, this can lead to self-blame, a dangerous place where you question if you're really the problem, when in fact, it's the other person's inability to own up to their actions. How do you protect yourself when faced with the blame game? The first step is to stay grounded in your truth. When you know that you're not the one who caused harm, remind yourself of that. You don't need to justify your actions to someone who refuses to take responsibility for theirs. It's important to recognize that you're not at fault for their behavior, no matter how hard they try to make it seem like you are. Next, practice assertive communication. Stay calm and direct in your responses, and don't let them lead you into unnecessary arguments or diversions. For example, you could say something like, "I understand that you may feel that way, but I'm asking for you to take responsibility for your actions and how they've affected me." This allows you to stand firm in your boundaries without getting caught up in the emotional chaos they may try to create. Remember, deflection is a tactic to avoid accountability, and it's not about you or your actions. It's about them trying to avoid facing the truth of their behavior. And finally, understand that walking away from the blame game is sometimes the healthiest thing you can do. You can't force someone to take accountability if they're not willing to. Instead, protect your peace by choosing to disengage. By doing so, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of manipulation and false narratives. Number 7, pleasure of pain for others. Let's move on to one of the most sinister traits of toxic individuals, the pleasure they derive from others' pain. It might sound extreme, but for some, witnessing or even causing pain in others brings a twisted sense of satisfaction. This could manifest in many ways, but at the core, it's about control. Toxic individuals enjoy watching others suffer because it allows them to feel powerful, superior, and even validated. In their eyes, causing pain, whether emotional, psychological, or sometimes even physical, gives them the upper hand. They feed off that negative energy. Imagine for a moment you've just shared something vulnerable with someone you trust, a hope, a dream, or even a fear. And instead of offering comfort or support, they exploit that vulnerability. They twist your words, make you feel small, or mock your feelings. This isn't just cruelty for cruelty's sake. It's about maintaining control over you by keeping you off balance and uncertain of yourself. For them, your pain is a reminder that they're in control. It validates their twisted view of the world, where others' suffering feeds their egos. How do you know when someone is enjoying your pain? The first sign is emotional exploitation. Toxic individuals may intentionally create situations that cause you emotional distress. For example, they might deliberately bring up a topic that they know will trigger you, or play mind games to make you feel confused or upset. This often happens in a way that makes it look like it's your fault, leaving you questioning your emotions. They might even laugh or act smug, as though your pain is amusing to them. Another indicator is when they show little to no remorse after their words or actions cause you distress. Instead of acknowledging your hurt, they act indifferent, or in the worst case, act like your pain is an inconvenience to them. This callous behavior comes from a deep lack of empathy. They simply don't care how their actions affect you, as long as they get what they want. Moreover, toxic individuals may derive pleasure from seeing you doubt yourself. They manipulate situations to put you in a position where you question your worth, your abilities, and your decisions. They want to make you feel insecure because insecurity is their weapon to keep you under their control. The more they can shake your confidence, the more power they have over you. Why do they do this? At the heart of it, it's about control. By causing pain, they feel as though they are in charge of the situation. This can come from a deep-rooted need to feel superior, or a fear of being vulnerable or powerless themselves. Some individuals derive a sense of comfort from the suffering of others because it temporarily masks their own insecurities or feelings of inadequacy. If they can make you feel inferior, it helps them feel superior, even if it's only for a moment. So how do you protect yourself from this toxic behavior? First and foremost, don't let their satisfaction dictate your worth. You are not defined by their actions or their attempts to tear you down. Remember, your value is intrinsic. It doesn't depend on how others perceive you or how they try to manipulate you. Their enjoyment of your pain is about their weaknesses, not yours. Secondly, set clear emotional boundaries. If you sense that someone is feeding off your pain, it's crucial to remove yourself from the situation if possible. Don't engage in their emotional games, and don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you hurt. Instead, prioritize your emotional well-being. If necessary, distance yourself from them. Sometimes the best way to protect yourself is to simply walk away and let them have no access to your vulnerability. Finally, learn to recognize the difference between someone who genuinely cares for you and someone who is enjoying your pain. A healthy relationship should be nurturing, uplifting, and supportive. In contrast, a toxic relationship will always feel draining and manipulative, leaving you emotionally exhausted. Number 8, isolation as a weapon. My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, let's delve into a particularly devious tool in the toxic individual's arsenal: isolation. This is a tactic that is often hidden beneath the surface, but its impact can be devastating. Toxic individuals often use isolation to gain control over their victims. It might start subtly, cutting you off from a friend, undermining your relationships with family, or subtly discouraging you from pursuing activities that bring you joy. Over time, this creates a sense of dependence where you feel more isolated and cut off from your support system. At first, this might seem like harmless behavior. After all, they might act like they're simply looking out for you. But this is the first sign that they're trying to chip away at your independence. They may tell you that they want you all to themselves, claiming that everyone else is bad for you or doesn't understand you the way they do. The goal? To make you feel like they're the only person you can rely on. Imagine this. You've been close with a group of friends for years. You've always shared your hopes, dreams, and challenges with them. But then, over time, this toxic individual starts planting seeds of doubt. They criticize your friends, claiming that they don't really care about you or that they're trying to sabotage your happiness. At first you brush it off, but soon you start to believe their words. And before you know it, you've distanced yourself from the people who once brought you joy and comfort. You may even feel a sense of guilt for spending time with your loved ones, as though you're betraying this toxic individual. Isolation can also be a more overt tactic, such as demanding that you spend all your time with them and becoming angry or resentful when you want to interact with others. This creates a toxic dynamic where you feel like you're walking on eggshells, unable to do anything without their approval. Over time, you become more dependent on them for emotional validation, and that's when they have you exactly where they want you, vulnerable and isolated. Why do they do this? At the core, it's about control. When they isolate you from your support system, they become the sole source of emotional support and validation in your life. This makes it easier for them to manipulate your emotions, your decisions, and your worldview. Without outside influences, you become more susceptible to their narrative, their needs, and their desires. It's a tactic to make you feel small, alone, and reliant on them for everything. But how do you fight back against this? The first step is to recognize the behavior. Pay attention to any signs that someone is actively working to isolate you from others. This could be subtle remarks like, "Your friend never really understood you," or "Why do you need to see your family so much? They don't care about you like I do." When you hear these types of comments, it's a clear indication that they're trying to create a wedge between you and your support system. Next, reinforce your relationships with others. Don't let this toxic individual dictate your social life. Stay in touch with your friends, family, and other supportive people in your life. Make it a priority to spend time with those who uplift you and remind you of your worth. It's crucial to nurture these relationships, even if the toxic person tries to make you feel guilty about it. Remember, true relationships are built on mutual respect and support, not on control and manipulation. Finally, learn to trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. If you start to feel like your sense of self is slipping away or that you're becoming more and more isolated, it's time to reassess the relationship. Sometimes, the best way to protect yourself from this kind of manipulation is to put some distance between you and the toxic individual. Number 9, jealousy in disguise. Let's explore a powerful yet often subtle tool of toxicity, jealousy. This emotion, when masked by kindness or feigned indifference, can be one of the most destructive forces in a toxic relationship. It often goes unnoticed until its damage has been done. Toxic individuals often disguise their jealousy behind a mask of innocent concern or support. At first glance, it might look like they're offering you advice or even praising your accomplishments. But a closer look reveals the undercurrent of envy. They might compliment your success in one breath and then belittle your achievements in the next, often doing so in a way that leaves you questioning yourself. For example, imagine you've just received a promotion at work. Instead of celebrating your success with you, the toxic individual might say something like, "Wow, that's amazing." But don't forget, there are so many people who worked just as hard and didn't get the same recognition. At first, this might seem like an innocent comment, but there's a subtle tone of undermining behind it. The implication is that your achievement doesn't truly stand out, that there are others more deserving, and you should feel guilty for your success. This is the hidden face of jealousy in disguise. They disguise their envy as helpful advice or concern, but what they're really doing is sowing seeds of doubt in your mind. They want you to feel like you don't deserve your success, that you're not as special or worthy as they might have led you to believe. This jealousy is often disguised in what appears to be humility or modesty. A toxic person might say things like, "I could never do what you did," or "I'm not that talented," as a way to downplay your achievements while subtly elevating themselves. The goal is not to celebrate your success, but to redirect the attention back to them, to make you feel guilty for achieving something they cannot. Another manifestation of disguised jealousy comes in the form of competitive remarks. Imagine you've been working on a personal project for months. You've poured your heart and soul into it, and now it's finally come to fruition. Instead of offering genuine congratulations, the toxic individual might respond with, "I've always been good at that too, but I just never bothered to follow through." While this may seem like casual conversation, it's rooted in a deep-seated jealousy, a desire to downplay your achievement and position themselves as more capable or talented. The most insidious part of this type of jealousy is that it's often difficult to recognize because it's masked as concern or a desire for your best interest. It might sound like they're offering you advice, but the underlying message is, you don't deserve this, or you're not as special as you think. So how do you protect yourself from this toxic brand of jealousy? The first step is to recognize it for what it is. When you start to notice that someone consistently undermines your accomplishments or redirects the conversation back to themselves, it's a clear sign that jealousy may be at play. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, there's a reason for it. It's important to not let their subtle digs and backhanded compliments chip away at your confidence. Next, protect your self-esteem. Don't let anyone dictate your worth. If you've achieved something, own it. Celebrate your success and don't allow someone else's envy to make you feel small. Surround yourself with people who genuinely support and celebrate your achievements, and let their positive energy drown out the negativity of toxic individuals. Finally, don't engage with their competitive nature. If a toxic person tries to compete with you or undermine your success, don't play into it. Stay confident in your abilities. And remember that your worth is not defined by anyone else's jealousy. Recognize their actions for what they are, and don't let them steal your joy or sense of accomplishment. Number 10, the hunger for control. My unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers, we've journeyed through many toxic traits. But one of the most dangerous and pervasive qualities a toxic individual can possess is a deep, insatiable hunger for control. This hunger doesn't just manifest in obvious ways, like bossing you around or issuing demands. It's a silent force, often disguised as concern, love, or protection, but it's really about keeping you in their grip. Toxic people crave control because it gives them power, stability, and a false sense of security. When they can control your thoughts, actions, and emotions, they feel invincible because they're pulling the strings. This type of manipulation can be incredibly hard to detect at first, as it often starts small, with seemingly innocent requests or suggestions. But over time, it grows until it feels like you can't do anything without their approval. Take, for example, a relationship where one partner constantly makes decisions for both of you. They choose where you'll go, what you'll eat, who you'll spend time with, and how you'll spend your money, often presenting their choices as the best options for everyone involved. At first, you might think it's sweet or considerate. After all, they're just trying to help, right? But soon enough, you begin to realize that you no longer have a say in your own life. The subtle decisions they've made for you add up until your independence has been stripped away, and you start to question your own ability to make choices. Toxic individuals with a hunger for control often manipulate your sense of guilt or obligation to keep you compliant. They might say things like, "After all I've done for you, don't you think you owe me this?" Or, "I just want to make sure you're making the right choice. I care about you too much to let you make mistakes." It seems caring on the surface, doesn't it? But in reality, it's a clever tactic to make you doubt your own judgment and give them control over your actions. Another way this hunger for control plays out is through gaslighting. The toxic individual will deny your perceptions, twist the truth, and make you feel like you're the one in the wrong. Over time, you begin to question your own reality, and they manipulate you into doing things their way, thinking it's what you want. The ultimate goal is to make you feel that without their control, you wouldn't be able to make decisions, and that you need them to tell you what's best for you. A toxic person with this hunger for control will often disregard your needs entirely. They may never ask you what you want or how you feel about something. Instead, their behavior revolves around keeping you in a position where you feel dependent on them. You might find yourself continually sacrificing your needs to accommodate theirs, all while they subtly reinforce the idea that they know better than you. But the most devastating effect of this constant manipulation is that it chips away at your self-worth. You begin to feel small, like your thoughts, feelings, and desires are not important. You might even start to believe that you can't trust your own instincts anymore, relying instead on the toxic person to guide you. So how do you reclaim your autonomy when faced with a toxic individual who wants to control everything in your life? The first step is to recognize the pattern. If someone consistently makes decisions for you, guilt trips you, or dismisses your feelings, it's important to see that these behaviors aren't acts of love. They're acts of control. Trust yourself and your own instincts. You have the right to make your own decisions, no matter what anyone else might say. Next, it's vital to set clear boundaries. Let the toxic person know that while you value their input, you will not tolerate being controlled. Set firm limits on their behavior and be prepared to enforce them. Boundaries are crucial because they allow you to regain your sense of autonomy and self-respect. They help protect you from being manipulated into submitting to someone else's will. Finally, seek support from people who genuinely care about you and respect your independence. When you're in a relationship with someone who is trying to control you, it can feel isolating. But there are people out there who will support your right to live your life on your terms. Lean on them and let their strength help you reclaim your power. We've explored many facets of toxic behavior, my unstoppable wisdom seekers and fearless life explorers. Now it's time to take the most important step, breaking free from the toxic influence that has been holding you back. As we wrap up this deep dive into toxic personalities and their behaviors, you might be feeling a mix of emotions. You may have recognized some of these traits in others, or perhaps you've even noticed them within yourself. And that's okay, because awareness is the first step toward change. Let's talk about how you can reclaim your life, rebuild your sense of self, and step into a future where you are in control of your own destiny. Acknowledge the damage. The first thing you need to do in your journey to breaking free is to acknowledge the damage that's been done. For a long time, you may have been manipulated into believing that the toxic individual's behaviors were your fault, that you deserved their mistreatment, or that their control was for your own good. This is part of the toxic cycle. Gaslighting and manipulation often make you doubt your own reality. But now that you've identified the toxic traits, it's important to see the impact they've had on your self-esteem, your decision-making, and your relationships. It's not easy, but recognizing the pain caused is necessary for healing. By acknowledging the damage, you give yourself permission to heal, move forward, and reclaim the strength that may have been hidden beneath the toxicity. Set and enforce boundaries. The next step in breaking free is to set firm boundaries. Boundaries are non-negotiable rules that protect you from harmful behavior. Once you've identified the toxic traits in others, it's time to protect yourself. Setting boundaries isn't always easy, especially when you're dealing with a manipulative person. They may try to push your limits or guilt trip you into letting them continue their toxic behavior. But remember, boundaries are essential for preserving your peace and your sense of self-worth. Here's how you can start setting boundaries. Be clear and direct. Don't beat around the bush. If someone is constantly disrespecting your boundaries, let them know exactly what behavior is unacceptable. Don't apologize for your boundaries. Toxic people may try to make you feel guilty for wanting space or autonomy. Stand firm in your decisions and remind yourself that you're doing this for your own well-being. Limit your exposure. If the toxic individual refuses to respect your boundaries, it may be necessary to limit or cut contact. Sometimes the only way to heal is to put distance between yourself and the person who has caused you harm. Rebuild your self-worth. One of the most insidious effects of toxic relationships is how they erode your self-worth. Toxic people make you feel like you are worthless, incapable, or that your thoughts and emotions don't matter. Rebuilding your sense of self-worth is an essential part of breaking free. You can start by acknowledging your value. Remind yourself that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. You have the right to live a life free from manipulation and control. Affirming your worth. Practice positive affirmations to remind yourself of your strengths and achievements. The more you reinforce your worth, the more you'll start to believe. Surrounding yourself with positive influences. Build a support network of people who uplift you and help you see your value. Seek out those who inspire you, encourage you, and respect your autonomy. Seek professional help if needed. Sometimes breaking free from toxic influences can be overwhelming. You might feel stuck, unsure of where to begin, or struggle with feelings of guilt or shame. In these cases, seeking professional help can be incredibly valuable. Therapists, counselors, and life coaches are trained to help you navigate these complex emotions and create actionable plans to move forward. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and you deserve the support you need. 5. Create a new path forward. As you break free from the toxic influence in your life, it's important to create a new path forward. This is where you can reclaim your power and design a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Start by setting small, achievable goals that will help you move in the direction you want to go. You might want to pursue new interests, reconnect with the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. This is your chance to rediscover your passions and live authentically. Cultivate healthy relationships. Surround yourself with people who support and empower you. Build connections with those who genuinely care for your well-being. Focus on self-care. Make self-care a priority in your daily life. Whether it's practicing mindfulness, exercising, or simply taking time to relax, self-care will help you restore balance and strength. As we reach the conclusion of our journey through toxic behaviors, I hope that you feel empowered and inspired to take control of your life. Remember, breaking free from toxicity is not a one-time event, it's a continuous journey. But each step you take toward healing brings you closer to living a life of purpose, peace, and freedom. If you found value in today's conversation and feel ready to take the next step in your journey, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join me in future videos where we'll dive deeper into topics of growth, purpose, and transformation. You have the strength, wisdom, and resilience to create a future that aligns with your true self. Never forget that you are in control of your story. Keep moving forward and continue to seek the guidance that leads to personal growth, healing, and empowerment. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, remember to take care of yourself and trust in your inner strength. You are capable of anything you set your mind to.